Hello, and welcome to the League of Women Voters of Macomb County's Candidate Forum for Eastpointe City Council. The League of Women Voters is a national organization whose mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League neither opposes nor supports candidates or political parties. We welcome all citizens aged 16 and over to membership. My name is Catherine Laboon, President for the League of Women Voters Macomb County. Due to COVID-19, we are conducting tonight's forum virtually, so there is no live audience. However, this forum is being recorded and it will be shared publicly in the coming days on the LWV Macomb County website. I would now like to introduce our moderator for this evening, Jennifer Kulzicki.
Thank you, Catherine, and good evening, and welcome to the Eastpointe City Council Candidate Forum. My name is Jennifer Kulzicki, and I'm pleased to serve as your moderator tonight. This forum is for the City of Eastpointe's general election on Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. The format for this forum has been established by the League of Women Voters, and the format was reviewed with and agreed to by each candidate prior to this forum. Eastpointe residents were asked to submit questions for tonight's forum, and we thank those residents for their contributions. All questions have been kept confidential and reviewed only by League members. We will get to as many questions as time permits this evening. In Eastpointe, there are 6 candidates running for 2 open city council seats that will serve a 4-year term. All candidates have been extended an invitation to participate in tonight's forum. Please note this forum is about the presentation of the candidates and their opinions to enable voters to make an informed decision at the polls in November. No candidate campaign materials are allowed throughout this forum, including buttons, signs, or coffee mugs, and electronics of any kind are not to be used during the forum. Each candidate will be allowed a 1-minute opening statement, a 1-minute response to each question, and a 2-minute closing statement. Of the 6 candidates running for Eastpointe City Council, 3 are participating in our forum this evening. 3 candidates are unable to join us. They are Michael Jones, Shanita Lloyd, and Sylvia Moore. Now, I'd like to introduce the participating candidates in tonight's forum. In alphabetical order, they are Rob Baker, Cardi DiMonico Jr., and Tonya Gladney. Each candidate will have the opportunity to make an opening statement not to exceed 1 minute. Speaker order was determined by drawn lots just prior to this meeting, and closing statements will be made in the reverse order. Our timekeeper this evening is League member Kathy Poor, who will signal to the candidates when 30 seconds are remaining, and again when their time has expired. Please note that the candidates will be able to see those signals, but the audience likely will not be able to. As moderator, I reserve the right to close discussion on any question. With that, let's begin with our opening statements. Based on our drawn order, we'll start with Rob Baker. Rob, you have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Hello, I just want to say good evening to everyone. I thank you, League, for doing this and just helping us stay informed as voters. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
And next, Cardi DiDomenico, we have you for your opening statement for 1 minute, please.
Hi, my name is Cardi DiMonico Jr. I'm currently your council person and hoping to be reelected to continue improving Eastpointe. I dedicate a lot of time to the city and I'm passionate about the work. It's rewarding to be part of positive change in your own community. There have been a lot of positive things in the community and I hope that we continue to work to make Eastpointe a better place to live. We've adopted body-worn cameras in the police department, continued working on a community policing mindset. We're finishing up the Aaron Park development to have more affordable housing in the community. We've improved many neighborhood parks such as Getz and Roxana, and I've also improved Memorial Park primarily with building improvements. We'll be changing our code enforcement vehicles to electric to help the environment, and we've planted a lot of new trees in the city. I'd like to see us continue work on the 2019 Adopted Master Plan. Continuing that work will help small businesses and improve the community in general. I'd like to see us explore additional renewable energy sources such as solar panels, and I'd like to see if we can get a social district up and running. Hope to have your support and looking forward to the forum.
Thank you. And now, Tonya, you have 1 minute for your opening statement. You'll just have to unmute, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tonya Gladney, and I'm here to advocate on the city contracts so that they can be fair and equal for every individual, and especially residents that participate for contracts in the city. I'm also here for the water and sewer bill to be reduced every year like it was increased every year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now go in rotating order. So Rob, since you were first with our opening statement, Mr. DeMonico, we'll start with you for question number 1. First question, and you have 1 minute to respond, is why are you running for office and what would you bring to the Eastpointe City Council?
Sure, thanks for the question, Jennifer. I'm running because I'm just passionate about government. Government and technology are my two things in life, and I try to bring both of those to the city council, and just any great ideas I hear from the community or come up with myself, I try to implement in the community. I'm always looking for a way to make Eastpointe a better place to live, and that's why I'm running.
Thank you. Tonya, we'll ask the same question of you. Why are you running for office, and what would you do to bring, what would you bring to the City Council of Eastpointe?
I'm running for City Council to really make a difference. I'm very aware of a lot of things that take place within the city, and I'm involved to the best of my ability to be involved. Being on City Council will change a lot of different things, just not for me, but a lot of residents, for me as well as other residents within the city. Bringing awareness to the city of Eastpointe, I do, and I am involved in a lot of things within the city of Eastpointe.
Thank you very much. And Rob Baker, I'll extend that first question to you as well. Why are you running for office, and what would you bring to the Eastpointe City Council?
Yes, I'm running for City Council to further serve the city. I served a 1-year appointed term, and I've been volunteering in the city for several years, and it just gives me an opportunity to continue to show my heart for the city, to continue listening to the residents and trying to be a voice for their concerns. And along with all the other volunteer work that I do, this will give me an opportunity just to do even more for not just myself and my family, but for others.
Thank you very much. The second question, we'll start with Tonya Gladney. The second question is, what do you think is the biggest challenge the city faces in the next 4 years, and what would you do to address it?
The biggest challenge right now is that crime appears to be increasing a little bit more. Besides the crime increasing, it appears to be that we are decreasing with businesses that is essential to what the city of Eastpointe needs to thrive. One of the things that will help reduce the crime is that we have to have the education of some type of program set for what's going on within the city. Every time the city is changing, we need to change towards that, but with the residents, keeping them in mind of what's taking place within the city.
Thank you. I'll extend that question to you, Rob Baker. What do you think is the biggest challenge in the city in the next 4 years, and what would you do to address it?
Well, currently, still dealing with the effects of the pandemic. I know that a lot of places have opened up for people to return back to work, but there are still some people that have been impacted by it and still trying to rebuild. And we don't know how long this will go, but I believe that as resources become available, that we need to make sure that our residents are taken care of, that our businesses are still allowed to thrive so that they continue to serve the community. And as the businesses are thriving and growing, then other employment opportunities will become available. And so as of right now, I would like to see that, and also just more inclusion with diversity.
Thank you. And Cardi DeMonico, same question goes to you. What do you think is the biggest challenge the city faces in the next 4 years, and how would you address it?
Thank you. Yeah, generally, I would say infrastructure is the biggest issue, but I'd say that's not specific to the next 4 years. That's going to be a decades-long thing to bring that to a better place. Of course, we know, there's water discharged or sewage discharged into the lake and things like that, and we're working on that. But I'd say for the next 4 years, I'd be working on the master plan, because we approved a new master plan in 2019, and then, as we all well know, shortly after that, we hit this pandemic, as Mr. Baker just said, and we're still, of course, working to get out of that. But I think what will help with the master plan is there's a lot of plans to help make our business community better, especially along 9 Mile, we change things, and in the neighborhoods. And as long as we start implementing that, it's a master plan 2040, so it's long term, but I think early on, if we start that, we'll be good, and that'll be a large focus of my next 4 years if reelected.
Thank you. Our third question, we will start with Rob Baker. And the third question is, residents between 9 and 10 Mile roads have seen increased truck traffic on their streets due to the new truck stop on Gratiot and Kelly. What can the city do to reduce this truck traffic?
That's a good question. I would say we would first start with talking to like our city manager and with the DPW to find out first off, why there is more truck traffic. I know there's been a lot of construction going on in the city right now. Even with the truck stop being on 10 Mile Road, is there a way that we can direct them to just kind of to stick with maybe 1 or 2 routes to avoid going through some of the residential areas? So I think it starts with a conversation with the city manager and the director of the DPW to see how we can best solve that problem.
Thank you. And I'll extend that question also to you, Cardi DeMonico. Truck traffic on 9 and 10 Mile, and what can the city do to reduce that truck traffic?
Sure. Well, I think Mr. Baker's hit this one pretty well. For sure, the city manager and DPW director be good. Hopefully they can discuss with, any of these truck companies going down side streets. I'd hope they use the main roads as much as possible, because we all know for sure that, roads are a huge issue in general. Fortunately, I think, Eastpointe has some of the best roads around, looking at our pacer ratings and things like that. But, with the new truck stop, I guess we could be, at risk of having, some road issues on side streets that weren't meant for semis. So yeah, I'd hope we could just work together with everyone. Hopefully we can get them to use, 10 Mile, Kelly, Gratiot, the larger roads as opposed to side streets. And I'd work with city administration to resolve that.
Thank you very much. And Tonya Gladney, that same question. Residents on 9 and 10 Mile are complaining about increased truck traffic, and what could the city do to reduce?
The city can come together with a plan to, like the other candidates said, basically to use the main streets that are not being used, which would be Gratiot, would be better than maybe 10 Mile. But 10 Mile, keep in mind that we have 94 off that freeway, where most cars, trucks are going to use. And so once they come together with a plan to maybe reroute that to Gratiot, or depends on the area that everybody is going to, I think that would be better. They would just have to come with a plan and make it known publicly on what the residents of Eastpointe is expecting.
Thank you very much. For the fourth question, we will start with Cardi DeMonico. And the fourth question is this. There is a proposal on the November 2nd ballot to add a primary election for the office of mayor. What are your thoughts on adding this primary to the Eastpointe election calendar?
Sure, thanks for that question. So this one is, hopefully I can fit into a minute because it's slightly complicated. Technically, I did vote to put this on the ballot, but the whole discussion at the time was about ranked choice voting. I was trying to get the city council, because we can with the Department of Justice, continue ranked choice voting as long as we mutually agree to it. This will be our last regularly scheduled election with ranked choice voting. And I was trying to get us to do extend that for city council and then do a mayoral primary. So there's technically a primary for both. Ranked choice is essentially a primary and general in one. And at the time, I didn't think that we could add the mayoral race as part of that. But now cities across the state, Lansing and Ann Arbor included, are going to have on the November 2nd ballot an adoption question of ranked choice voting. So I think at this point, I'm voting no on this. Well, yeah, I'm certainly voting no on it, but because we could do ranked choice voting and then we don't have an extra election, and I have to stop. Thanks.
Thank you. Tonya, this same question goes to you. There is a proposal on the November 2nd ballot to add a primary election for the office of mayor. What are your thoughts on adding this primary to the Eastpointe election calendar?
Well, if it's added based on the residents that vote, I really don't think it would. I mean, it's going to be added, but I don't think that it will be elected to actually have a primary in the city of Eastpointe. I've been out here 13 years, going on 14, and doing all the elections that we have had, we have not basically had that primary. So would that fit the city of Eastpointe right now at this time? I don't think so. And would that help the residents that are running for that seat, for that primary seat as mayor? That would be something to think about based on the residents that actually vote.
Thank you very much. Rob Baker, that same question is extended to you. Proposal for a primary for mayor, and what are your thoughts about it and adding it to the Eastpointe election calendar?
Well, I think just simply put, I've heard a lot of residents asking for one. So I think it's really about what the residents want. If that's a better voting experience for the residents of Eastpointe, then I'm not opposed to having it on the ballot. And that's really why anybody on council serves, is to work on behalf of the residents, and we have to listen to them. So for me, it's not a problem.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to our fifth question, and this question will start with Tonya. Tonya, how would you make Eastpointe welcoming to all people?
I had that question before, and realistically, diversification plays a huge part of welcoming people within the city. And we have to be a little bit more kinder to people, and we have to be able to have fair practice for all residents. And so with the signs that we have with beautifying the city, that helps when people enter into the city. They see that we're cleaning up our city. It doesn't seem like it's ran down. And we can start there with just beautifying the city and being a little bit more kind and open with resources and information that we have with the residents.
Thank you. Now, Rob, same question for you. How would you make Eastpointe welcoming to all people?
Well, I think the best way to make someone feel welcome is to just do it, just welcome them. We don't have to necessarily focus on what makes us different. There are things we can appreciate about our differences, culturally, experience-wise. We all come from different backgrounds, so we can learn from that and be more enriched as a people. So I think the best way to make people feel welcome is to just do it. You embrace them. If I walk into your home and you greet me warmly, I know that I'm welcomed. And I think we can do the same thing in the city of Eastpointe. I'm part of a group called EASE, which is Eastpointe Advocates Supporting Equality. And we're working towards helping people to feel welcomed and to know that we embrace diversity.
Thank you. And Cardi, you figured out how this works now. So same question goes to you, please.
Thank you. Yes, this is, of course, a very important question. As we all know, the census has shown now that Eastpointe's a majority Black community. It's 53% Black. And, you know, I try my hardest to make sure everyone is included. I think the biggest thing the city can do is include everyone in boards and commissions. And we for sure have more Black people on our commissions than we've ever had. And I have put a lot of people forward to make sure that commissions are diverse and just try to get as many people involved in commissions that are interested in being involved in the city. If someone shows interest, someone emails city council, I make sure to respond. Just make sure, you know, as Ms. Gladney and Mr. Baker have said, just make people feel welcome and just do our best there. And that's how I look at it.
Thank you. For our sixth question, we'll start with Rob. Ranked choice voting will again be in play in Eastpointe in November. What are your thoughts on this voting system? And do you think Eastpointe should consider using ranked choice if authorized by state law?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Ranked choice voting, I mean, once again, I've talked to quite a few residents. A lot of residents seem to not be in favor of it. And so again, if we're working for the residents, I think it's about what makes it better for them. I know that it's in place. I understand why it's there, you know, what the Department of Justice said. But once again, once we've completed it for this cycle, if the residents aren't comfortable with it and they're not having a good voting experience, then I would be in favor of not doing it. Again, it's just about serving the needs of the residents.
Thank you very much. And Cardi, that question goes to you, ranked voting.
All right, thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, for ranked choice voting, as you could tell in an earlier question, I'm in favor of it. And I think I've been trying to clear up misconceptions on RCV as much as possible, because one, I think the most important thing is you don't need a primary with ranked choice voting. And especially in our community, with a lot of Black voters, there's generally lower turnout at elections, and having a whole separate election for any sort of minorities or people that have a hard time getting to the polls or anything like that. I think this is a great way. Just have one election. You can still have a general and rank people, you know, 1 through 4 on this ballot, for example. And it's proportional representation. So it's not where you can, if you have a lot of candidates, you can have a small part of the population vote in the candidates and the other people don't have a say. This is more proportional and hard to explain in the 1 minute I have, but please look it up if you have any questions about it. And I think it's a great way to elect people.
Thank you. And Tonya, that same question goes to you. Ranked choice voting will again be in play in Eastpointe in this November. What are your thoughts on this voting system? And do you think that Eastpointe should consider using it if authorized by state law?
Ranked choice voting, if authorized by the state law, that this is one of the ways that Eastpointe or other cities have to use for voting, then we're going for it. But if it's up to the residents, I remember when ranked choice voting came about 2 years ago or so, and the reason for ranked choice voting was due to the Department of Justice and the racism that Eastpointe was up against, and they had to make a decision. And so the decision was to use ranked choice voting. And so once again, like Mr. Baker said, it is a lot of residents, including myself, was against ranked choice voting, just on the first choice, the second choice, the third choice. And once you are eliminated from that first choice, your other votes go to the next candidate. So right there, I can understand why no one is familiar with it or don't trust it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll move on to the next question, and that is for Cardi. Do you think the city has the right balance of do you think the city has the right balance of owner-occupied properties versus rental properties?
Thanks for that question. So for a long time at meetings, I've been talking during my remarks about treating people equally, essentially. You know, a lot of people bring this up at hearing of the public about, essentially discriminating against people that rent. You know, I've been, some people that own their house take care of it, some don't. Some that rent take care of their property, some don't. Let's try to treat everyone equally. And I don't necessarily think it's a good or bad thing to rent. Some people don't want to have a mortgage. Some people do. Some people want to own their house, and at different points in your life, I think you have a different answer to that question too. So I don't necessarily think there is a good or bad percentage, but if someone certainly wants to own a house, hopefully we can help them achieve that goal. Thanks.
Thank you. And Tonya, same question. Is there the right balance between owner-occupied homes and rental properties?
I would say most definitely there's the right balance. You have to keep in mind, before you became a homeowner, you was a renter. And so that speaks volumes by itself. And so we're not going to step on or discredit someone because they rent. I think the biggest issue is that most renters for homeowners get the ideal or perception that they don't take care of their property. So that's the reason why they're labeled as more of a renter than a homeowner, because they believe homeowners will keep their property up and maintain. And that's half of the time that's not the case. But in Eastpointe right now, it seems to be a division with renters and homeowners. So I would not make that a big issue right now, even though I know that it is highly, highly talked about on a continuously basis.
Thank you very much. And Rob, the same question for you about balance between owner-occupied and rental properties.
Yeah, with that one, I would say it's just, it's really about having the opportunity to do either. Just like was stated before, there are some people who don't wish to own a mortgage or to own a property. Sometimes the rental agreements work out better for both parties. So I think it's good to have the option to do either. But I wouldn't say that one weighs heavier over the other. Just like was stated before, it's really about how people take care of what they have or the space that they occupy. And it's just good to give people the option and to give the respect to everyone equally.
Thank you so much. Tonya, the final question before we get to closing statements, we'll start with you. If the city were to receive an unexpected windfall, such as additional federal stimulus funds, how would you propose to use those funds?
Those funds could go to maybe build something new in Eastpointe that we don't have. We haven't had anything brand new from the ground breaking in quite some time that would benefit all residents. And then I will also say give some of the funding back to the residents far as those grants. If we get a windfall, you have many homeowners right now, because it doesn't apply to renters. They only qualify for certain improvement of their homes. And so this way, some of them funds can go to help upkeep the home, bring the home up. We're actually taking out a loan through a lender.
Thank you so much. Rob, the same question goes to you. If the city were to receive an unexpected windfall, such as additional federal stimulus funds, how would you propose to use those funds?
Well, I think kind of it extends as a broad question in some regards, because it depends on how much is available, because there's countless ways that we can use it to help the struggling businesses. Can we use it for people who have suffered under this pandemic? What resources can we make available to residents? Are we able to use some of those funds for the school system? So I think it's really about how much is available, and then just really sitting down, talking with, it would not only be fellow council members, but also with city administration to try to find out where we can best utilize those resources.
Thank you very much. And then that question to you, Cardi, as well.
Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, so Eastpointe will be receiving $3.17 million from the American Rescue Plan Act. And I would like to see us do a few things. So first of all, I look at this as money we probably should have already received from the state. The state's been shortchanging municipalities for a long time. And I know this is federal funding, but in terms of a windfall, $3 million can be spent really quickly when you're talking about infrastructure projects. So one, I want to see us remove more lead service lines. We've been working on the goal that the state gave us over 20 years to get rid of them all. We had over 1,300 just a couple of years ago, and I think we're at about 1,000 now. And I'd like to speed that up over the next few years. I'd like to see some of that money used there. And we have already used some. We bought a few things for the fire department that help with emergency services, and we've given some hazard pay to our frontline city employees. And the rest of the money, I'd like to hear from residents too, because obviously there's a lot of things.
Thank you so much. Well, that sums up the questions that we had from residents tonight. So we can now proceed to your closing statements. We are going to reverse the order that we started in, which would have Tonya going first. So Tonya, you have 2 minutes to provide your closing statement.
Okay. Everything said this evening from all candidates with their responses was really valid, necessary, and important. I wouldn't take away from anything that was actually stated here tonight, but I just want everybody to keep in mind that I'm truly seeking to reduce this water bill, to change it, because every year it's increasing more and more. And just keep in mind, I'm here to advocate on behalf of the people and the residents, just being out here.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Rob, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank you once again for providing this forum so that we can give a little insight on ourselves to the residents. Basically, I'm just glad to have an opportunity to further serve the community. And that's what I'm looking to do, to continue serving the community. I do volunteer work already with Gleaners, a group called PACE, and various other organizations in the city. And it's just good that we can have those opportunities. Really, it's just about listening to the residents, being a voice for their concern, and having a heart for your community. If you have a heart for your community and you focus on the right why, the reason that you want to do it, if your reasoning is correct, then that will be your guiding light as to how to serve the city and how to serve the residents, and just to try to do the best that we can for the benefit of the city and for everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, Cardi, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you, Jennifer. And first, I'd like to thank all of you from Macomb County League of Women Voters for putting this together. Thanks, Kathy, Catherine, Maria. Thank you all for doing this. I think this will be very helpful to the residents of Eastpointe in picking candidates for city council. And I hope you're able to pick the ones that are best for our community. And remember, you can rank your top 4 candidates. You don't have to use all 4 rankings, but it's only in your own favor to do so. So please rank me number 1 or at least number 2. There are a lot of issues that'll be coming in front of city council. Some are simpler decisions, but some are complex and long-term. who will best understand the issues, who will reach out to residents on those complex and long-term issues, who will be available to help when issues arise and, a resident needs help. Maybe you're hitting a wall with City Hall, and who's generally here for the residents. I'm certainly not here for the pay, which, if people don't know, is about $6,000 to $7,000 per year to be on Eastpointe City Council. I've got a good paying full-time job, and I'm not here for my ego. Do I want people in the community to know me? Sure. And I want to be known for being knowledgeable and reasonable and innovative. Yes, of course. I'd like to have a good reputation, but keep all that in mind when you're voting. You got 6 candidates for 2 spots. And I guess just thanks again, Macomb County League of Women Voters, and anyone can reach out to me at 586-744-3864. Contact at votecardi.com or www.votecardi.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the candidates for participating in this Eastpointe City Council forum tonight, and to the residents who submitted their questions. I'd also like to thank Kathy Poor, our producer and timekeeper, and Catherine Laboon, our president for the Macomb chapter, for their help in organizing this forum. This forum will be available for public viewing in the coming days on the League of Women Voters Macomb County website at www.lwvmacombcounty.com. The League's electronic voter guide covering this race and other Macomb County races is available on vote411.org and is linked on our website. The general election is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021, and all registered voters who have applied should have received an application for a no excuse absentee ballot. You can verify your voting registration status and track your ballot by visiting vote411.org. You can also visit michigan.gov/vote or by calling your city clerk as well. Note that you can register to vote up to and including Election Day, November 2nd. To do this, you do need to go to your clerk's office and be ready to vote. If you're mailing your ballot back, your absentee ballot back, please do so by October 14th. That's just a few days from today. Be sure to vote, sign the envelope, seal the envelope, and deliver it to your city clerk or take it to a drop box. Let me be clear that you have until November 2nd to get that ballot in, but if you are doing a USPS mail, please get it in the mail sooner rather than later. To be counted, all ballots must be received on or before Tuesday, November 2nd at 8 p.m. That concludes our forum tonight. Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Thanks.